Welcome everyone. I am Councillor Kimberly Barrett, Cabinet Member for Climate Change and Greening the City. A bit of quick housekeeping and safety information. If the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room and public gallery. Well, there's no one up there today. By the stairwells, do not attempt to use the lifts, and please assemble by the statue of Queen Victoria. To comply with the Guildhall Trust fire marshal regulations, anyone who signed in at the reception desk downstairs should sign out when leaving the building at the end of today's meeting. May I draw everyone's attention to the fact that this meeting will be webcast to allow the public to watch the meeting if they so wish. Everyone speaking will be on camera, and although there's no one here today, members of the press and public are permitted to record the meeting on the understanding that it neither disrupts meeting nor records those stating explicitly that they do not wish to be recorded. Please can everyone use the microphones, remember to switch them off, otherwise we'll focus on your lovely face, and otherwise the camera will remain on you. So perhaps I can start with introductions. So I'll start and welcome to Councillor Madgwick, but please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Councillor George Madgwick of the Paulsgrove Ward.
Councillor Charlotte Gerardo, Central Southsea.
Tom Bell, Principal Planning Policy Officer, and I've been representing the LPA in respect to the LNRS.
Felicity Harris, Greening City Coordinator, and I've been representing PCC on the LNRS steering group.
Jane Dodino, Local Democracy Officer.
Perfect, thank you everybody. Jane, any apologies for absence today?
I haven't received any, Chair.
Perfect, okay. Any declarations of interest for anybody at all? No? Perfect, then if that's the case, we will very swiftly move on to item 3, which is the Local Nature Recovery Strategy. So I'll pass over to you.
Thank you, Councillor Barrett. Good morning. Firstly, I apologise that appendices aren't with you. There's been a delay in information coming out. This meeting is to talk to you about the Local Nature Recovery Strategy and where we are within that process. So local nature recovery strategies are one of the outcomes of the 25-year Environment Plan. Hampshire County Council are the responsible authority for developing a local nature recovery strategy for our area, and Portsmouth City Council are a supporting authority. What local nature recovery strategies will do is highlight areas that are a priority for investment for nature recovery. They don't force our hand to do anything, but they present a real opportunity. The meeting today is to note that Hampshire County Council will be engaging with us about getting the local nature recovery strategy out to public consultation on the 12th of May, and that public consultation period will last 6 weeks up until the 23rd of June. As we are a supporting authority, Hampshire County Council will send us the draft strategy now on the 31st of March, at which point we will have 28 days from the 7th of April to confirm with Hampshire County Council that we are happy for the draft local nature recovery strategy to go out to consultation. In essence, this gives us an opportunity to make comments before the local nature recovery strategy goes out to public consultation. That is what we've got to talk about today.
Thank you very much, Felicity. I don't know, Tom, if there's anything you want to add yet, or?
Not in particular, no. I think Felicity's kind of summarised it all very well. Key points from a planning point of view, the areas that are being identified in the local nature recovery strategy in terms of the key measures areas for investment largely align with our nature reserves, open spaces, etc., the kind of places you'd expect in the city. So it's a real opportunity to potentially increase investment in nature in the city.
Perfect, thank you very much. Welcome, Councillor Brent. No, please don't apologise. Any declarations or anything?
No declaration. Sorry for being late. I did try Jane, and to let you know that I wasn't running a bit late, but I do apologise.
No worries at all, don't worry. Before I say anything, colleagues, any questions or comments, anything you want to ask at all? Yeah.
Just for the newbie in the room, could you just confirm what you mean by when you say supporting? So do we have any kind of legal obligations or X, Y, Z? But what do we mean by supporting authority? I assume that it just means that they kind of govern the framework and we kind of go along with that. Or could you just flesh it out for me so I understand what supporting means in relation to the main authority?
Yeah, so in essence, ourselves, Southampton and the two national parks are the supporting authorities, and we have an ability at certain points in the process to intervene if we think that the work that's been led by Hampshire County Council on the LNRS shouldn't progress. So, if, for example, at the next consultation, or prior to the next public consultation stage, we will be given the draft LNRS to look at and comment on, and if there was any kind of real particular showstoppers in there that we thought actually that isn't the way forward, we have that potential power to limit it. But they prepare it, and we work with them in a kind of sporting role to aid the process.
Okay, so if, for example, that comes up and we do say that we feel strongly about a different direction, who has the final say, essentially? How is that adjudicated? So if it did come forward and we said, you know, we don't like this and this isn't appropriate for our area, who has the final say? Does Hampshire trump Portsmouth, or does Portsmouth get to govern its own policy?
There is a mechanism in place where it goes to the Secretary of State and they get to make a decision.
I think it's probably worth saying that the process has been highly collaborative. There has already been a public consultation across the whole of sort of the Hampshire and the areas, you know, Portsmouth and Southampton, so the public could engage in the local nature recovery process and what they wanted to see. There's been a number of meetings, lots of workshops looking at different strands, and we have been able to feed back across the whole process to hopefully get the best outcomes for Portsmouth from this.
Colleagues, any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation as well. Really helpful. Thank you. I just wondered, given the other sort of large looming thing that we have, dare I say the word, with devolution and everything that's coming online, do we have any sense of how that impacts this strategy, and if it will be looked at again, or if this will hold? Do we have any sense of that?
I think because it's a county-wide strategy and it's been undertaken with participation from the surrounding districts and boroughs, even though they're not officially supporting authorities in the same way we are as a unitary, that it's been prepared in a way that takes locally important habitats and priorities into account in terms of nature. So I know colleagues from Havant, for example, have been very closely working together. So I think whatever comes out of local government organisation, it's going to represent a good kind of baseline position, and it's highlighting those areas across the whole county that are a priority for biodiversity, and I don't think that's going to change no matter what the political makeup is of us, East Hampshire in the future.
Any?
Yeah, thank you. Apologies if I've sort of missed it due to being a bit late. How will the consultation be held? You just mentioned a moment ago that there's already been a public consultation. What was the feedback around that? What was the sort of level of engagement, and how will it be sort of carried out?
Thank you, Councillor Brent. The original public consultation was looking at what members of the public, what nature meant to them. That was an online survey, and there was feedback from across Portsmouth asking people what they wanted to see with nature. So it was kind of very, very broad, but trying to gauge a sense of appetite and how important nature is across different parts of the local authority, but also the wider local nature recovery area. That was led by Hampshire County Council, and there have also been sort of face-to-face workshops, or more detailed workshops looking at particular habitats. So, for example, chalk grassland habitat, which of course we have on Portsdown Hill, coastal habitats, woodlands and trees. So, and a range of stakeholders were involved in those workshops. The consultation, which will begin on the 12th of May, thank you, Tom. The consultation that will begin on the 12th of May will be an online consultation, but what we will do is work with our communications team to ensure that as many people in Portsmouth have the opportunity to contribute.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other questions or comments? Felicity, I know that we were waiting for the appendices, which no fault of your own. Could you just talk about that? Because I believe we're still waiting from Hampshire, aren't we, to receive those?
That's right, and I really apologise. Those were timetabled. The draft LNRS was timetabled to be with us earlier in the month. That's now been delayed to the 31st of March. That draft LNRS will have really detailed maps showing priority areas for the best opportunities to invest in nature recovery, and it will also include specific measures. And picking up on Tom's point, one of the things that this LNRS does is it really takes into account the local context. So we've been able to kind of represent what's most important for Portsmouth at this time.
Perfect, thank you. I do have a request. Obviously, we will get that out to comms and try and get that out to as many people as possible. But as soon as we get that, would you be able to email all the councillors here so that they can have a look at it in their own time, come back with your own questions as well and feedback into it, and if possible, send it out into the world and try and get as many people to take part, because it is an important piece of work, I think, especially collaborative piece of work as well going forward. And yeah, we're trying to do whatever we can, especially with biodiversity, with the biodiversity duty as well, push forward with that, as it is a nice piece of legislation going forward, I believe. So yeah, I think that's, unless colleagues have got any other further questions or anything at all at the moment? No, well, if that's the case, thank you very much. Nice, short, brief, efficient meeting.